3 people are dead, 8 confirmed cases across multiple countries, and a cruise ship carrying over 150 passengers has become the center of one of the most alarming infectious disease outbreaks of 2026. If you have been watching the news this week, you have heard the word hantavirus more times than you probably ever expected to. And if you are like most Americans right now, you have questions. What exactly is this virus? How does it spread? Is it coming to America? Should I be worried? And most importantly, what can I actually do to protect myself and my family? Today, I am going to answer every single one of those questions. Not with panic, not with fear-mongering, with facts, with clarity, and with practical, actionable information that you can use starting today. Because the best protection against any infectious disease is not fear, it is knowledge, and a strong immune system. Let me start with exactly what happened. On May 2nd, 2026, the World Health Organization received a report about a cluster of severely ill passengers aboard the MV Hondius, a Dutch cruise ship traveling in the Atlantic. The ship had departed on a polar expedition cruise, visiting Antarctica, the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, and several small Atlantic islands before heading toward the Canary Islands. On April 6th, a 70-year-old Dutch man suddenly fell ill with fever, headache, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. 5 days later, he went into severe respiratory distress. He died on board the ship on April 11th. His 69-year-old wife developed stomach symptoms shortly after. She went ashore at a port stop and flew toward Johannesburg. Her condition deteriorated dramatically on the flight. She collapsed trying to board a connecting flight home. She died at a nearby hospital on April 26th. A third passenger, a German woman, developed fever and malaise on May 28th. She developed pneumonia. She died May 2nd on board the ship. 3 deaths. 8 confirmed or suspected cases, passengers from multiple countries, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, Germany, the United States. The WHO confirmed on May 4th what laboratory testing had revealed: hantavirus, specifically the Andes strain. And that is where this story gets complicated, because the Andes strain of hantavirus is unlike any other hantavirus strain ever identified. It is the only hantavirus strain ever documented to spread directly from human to human. And that is what makes this outbreak, though still very small, worth understanding completely. So what exactly is hantavirus? Most Americans have heard the name, but only have a vague understanding of what it actually is. Let me be precise. Hantaviruses are a group of viruses carried by rodents, mice, rats, voles, and other small mammals. They have existed alongside rodent populations for thousands of years. In the United States, particularly in the western and southwestern states, a hantavirus strain called Sin nombre virus has been present for decades. The first major American recognition of it came in 1993, when an outbreak in the Four Corners region of the Southwest, affecting Navajo communities in New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado, killed multiple young, previously healthy people within days of first symptoms. The disease it causes is called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, HPS, and it is not subtle. The early symptoms, the ones that appear first, are deceptively mild: fever, fatigue, muscle aches, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, symptoms that most people would attribute to a bad flu, to food poisoning, to a stomach bug. This is the dangerous period, because while these mild symptoms are present, the virus is quietly and catastrophically damaging the capillaries, the tiny blood vessels that line the lungs. 4 to 10 days after those first mild symptoms appear, the second phase hits, without warning: cough, shortness of breath, lungs beginning to fill with fluid. The medical term is non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema. The lungs are drowning. From the moment those respiratory symptoms begin, a patient can deteriorate from walking and talking to needing mechanical ventilation within hours. The mortality rate for patients who reach this respiratory stage is approximately 38%, Nearly 1 in 3 people who develop severe HPS respiratory symptoms will die, and there is no specific antiviral medication approved to treat it. No vaccine exists. Treatment is entirely supportive: oxygen, mechanical ventilation, managing fluid levels, while hoping the immune system can fight the virus before the lungs fail completely. This is why understanding prevention is so critically important.
Now, how does hantavirus normally spread? And how does the Andes strain, the one involved in this outbreak, differ? Normal hantavirus transmission, including the Sin Nombre strain found in the American Southwest, happens through contact with infected rodents, specifically through 3 routes: inhaling aerosolized particles from infected rodent urine, droppings, or saliva, touching contaminated materials and then touching your mouth or nose, or in rare cases, a direct bite from an infected rodent. This is why most American hantavirus cases have occurred in people who were cleaning out barns, garages, or cabins that had rodent infestations. Disturbing old rodent droppings, sweeping them without a mask, cleaning them without gloves, releases aerosolized viral particles. Those particles are inhaled. Infection follows. The Andes strain is fundamentally different in one critical way. It is the only hantavirus ever documented to spread from person to person, not through casual contact, not through the air from across a room, but through close, prolonged contact with a symptomatic person, kissing, sharing utensils, prolonged time in the same enclosed space, handling contaminated bedding, direct exposure to respiratory secretions from someone who is actively ill. The WHO Director General was explicit about this. He said, transmission between people has been associated with close and prolonged contact, particularly among household members, intimate partners, and people providing medical care. And critically, the window of infectiousness appears to be short. Research suggests peak infectiousness is centered around the day a fever begins. Once a person deteriorates to severe illness, they are typically isolated or die, limiting the window of possible transmission. This is fundamentally different from COVID-19, where infected people spread the virus before they developed any symptoms at all. With the Andes virus, you are most infectious when you clearly look and feel sick. Now, I want to address the question that I know every American watching this has been asking. Is this the next COVID? I'm going to give you a very clear answer. No. And here is why, based on the science, not on reassurance. First, COVID-19 was caused by a novel coronavirus that human immune systems had never encountered before. Hantaviruses have been known and studied for decades. The Andes strain specifically has been tracked since the 1990s. Our understanding of it, while incomplete, is vastly greater than our understanding of COVID was in early 2020. Second, hantavirus does not spread through casual respiratory contact the way COVID does. COVID spread through aerosols that hung in the air of rooms for minutes to hours. You could be infected by someone across a restaurant. Hantavirus requires close, prolonged, direct contact with a symptomatic person. The infectious window is short. The transmission barrier is high. Third, hantavirus does not appear to mutate rapidly. Analysis of the 2018-2019 Argentina outbreak showed the virus did not change its genetic structure significantly over the course of the outbreak. COVID's ability to constantly mutate, producing new variants that evaded immunity, was a core driver of the pandemic. Hantavirus does not appear to share this characteristic. The WHO's infectious disease chief, Maria van Kerkhove, said this directly and unequivocally at a press conference. This is not the next COVID. This is not COVID. This is not influenza. It spreads very, very differently. The risk to the American public right now, from the CDC's own current assessment, is extremely low. The rodents that carry the Andes strain are found in South America. They have not been identified in the United States. The 17 Americans who were aboard the ship are being monitored in quarantine at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. None are currently showing symptoms.
But here is what I want to talk about for the rest of today's video. Because whether or not this specific outbreak reaches pandemic scale, and the evidence strongly suggests it will not, the broader reality is this. Infectious diseases are a permanent feature of human existence. They were present in the ancient world. They are present today. And they will be present in the future. The question is not whether you will ever be exposed to a pathogen. The question is, what condition is your immune system in when that exposure happens? Because your immune system is the only defense you actually have against any viral infection. There is no specific antiviral treatment for hantavirus. There is no vaccine. The people who survive hantavirus infection survive because their immune systems successfully fight the virus before it destroys enough lung tissue to be fatal. Your immune system is your first line of defense, your last line of defense, and in this case, your only line of defense. So the most meaningful thing we can talk about today, the most practical and actionable thing I can offer you, is not how to fear this virus. It is how to build the strongest possible immune system using plants and foods that are available to you right now, today, at your local grocery store. The first and most important immune-supporting plant available to any American is elderberry. Elderberry, Sambucus nigra, has been used as medicine for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians used it. Native American tribes used it for centuries. European traditional medicine used it consistently for respiratory illness. And modern research has found extraordinarily specific mechanisms through which elderberry supports immune function against viral infections. Elderberry contains compounds called anthocyanins, the deep purple pigments that give the berry its color. These anthocyanins have been shown in research to do something remarkable. They bind to viral proteins, specifically the spike proteins that viruses use to attach and enter your cells, and physically block that attachment. The virus cannot enter your cells because elderberry compounds are occupying the attachment sites. A 2016 study published in Nutrients found that elderberry supplementation significantly reduced the duration and severity of colds caused by rhinoviruses. A 2016 randomized controlled trial found that airline travelers who took elderberry extract had significantly shorter cold duration and significantly less severe symptoms than placebo. A 2019 meta-analysis examining elderberry's antiviral effects found consistent evidence of significant reductions in cold and flu symptoms across multiple studies. Elderberry has not been specifically studied against hantavirus, and I want to be completely transparent about that. No plant has been. But elderberry's documented antiviral mechanisms, its ability to block viral entry into your cells and to modulate the immune response, represent general antiviral activity that supports your body's ability to fight viral infections broadly. How to use it. Elderberry syrup, 1 tablespoon daily as a preventative dose. Elderberry capsules, 500 to 1,000 milligrams standardized extract daily, available at Walmart, Whole Foods, CVS, and online for approximately $15 to $25 per month. The second critical immune-supporting plant is Echinacea. Echinacea has more clinical research behind it for immune function than almost any other plant ever studied. It is one of the most purchased herbal supplements in America for a reason. Echinacea contains compounds called alkamides and polysaccharides that work on the immune system through 2 specific mechanisms. First, they stimulate the production and activity of macrophages, your immune cells that are your first responders to infection. Macrophages identify, engulf, and destroy foreign pathogens. When macrophage activity increases, your immune system's initial response to any invading pathogen is faster and more aggressive. Second, Echinacea has been shown to stimulate the production of interferon, a signaling protein that your cells produce when they detect a virus. Interferon essentially sends a message to surrounding cells: a virus is here, activate your defenses. Cells that receive the interferon signal upregulate their antiviral defenses, making them harder to infect. A 2015 Cochrane review, the highest level of evidence in medicine, examined all available randomized controlled trials of Echinacea for respiratory infections. The conclusion? Echinacea preparations may reduce the incidence of common cold infections by approximately 10 to 58% depending on the preparation used, and may reduce the duration of colds when they do occur. Consistent, meaningful immune support, documented across multiple studies. How to use it? Echinacea extract, 400 milligrams, 2 to 3 times daily at the first sign of illness. For prevention, 400 milligrams once daily. Available at virtually every pharmacy and grocery store in America. Important note, Echinacea is most effective when cycled. Take it for 8 weeks, then take a 2-week break. Long-term continuous use reduces effectiveness.
The third immune-supporting plant is astragalus. Astragalus is less well known to most Americans, but it has been one of the foundational immune-supporting plants in traditional Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years, and the modern research on it is genuinely impressive. Astragalus contains compounds called polysaccharides and saponins, specifically astragalosides, that have demonstrated the ability to do something that few other plants have been shown to do. They directly stimulate the production of T cells and natural killer cells, two of the most important categories of immune cells in your body. T cells are your immune system's targeted response force. They identify and destroy specific pathogens. Natural killer cells are your immune system's rapid response force. They detect and destroy infected cells before T cells have even been fully activated. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed journals has found that astragalus supplementation increases both T cell count and natural killer cell activity in human subjects. A 2006 review published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology examining astragalus in patients with compromised immune systems found significant improvements in immune function markers. And a remarkable finding specifically relevant to viral respiratory infections, astragalus has been shown to improve the function of the lung's own immune defenses. The lung macrophages, the immune cells that specifically patrol the lung tissue, have been shown to be more active and more effective in subjects who supplemented with astragalus. Given that hantavirus's primary target is the lung, supporting the lung's own immune defense mechanisms is directly relevant. How to use it? Astragalus root extract, 500 milligrams twice daily, or dried astragalus root made into a tea by simmering 2 tablespoons of root pieces in 12 ounces of water for 20 minutes. Available at Whole Foods, natural health stores, and online. Unlike Echinacea, astragalus can be taken continuously for long-term immune support without cycling. The fourth is garlic. And I know garlic is not exotic or surprising, but the research on garlic's immune function is so consistent and so specific that leaving it off this list would be dishonest. Garlic contains allicin, the compound released when a clove is crushed or cut. Allicin has demonstrated in multiple studies to have direct antimicrobial activity against bacteria and viruses. It activates macrophages and natural killer cells. It stimulates the production of cytokines, immune signaling proteins that coordinate your immune response. And it has documented viral activity against multiple respiratory viruses. A 2012 randomized controlled trial found that people who took an allicin-containing garlic supplement had significantly fewer colds than placebo, and when they did get colds, they recovered significantly faster. How to use it? 1 to 2 raw garlic cloves crushed and consumed daily. Crushing activates the allicin. Eating it raw preserves it. If raw garlic is too intense, aged garlic extract supplement, 600 to 1200 milligrams daily. Both available everywhere. The fifth is turmeric with black pepper. We have talked about turmeric extensively on this channel for its anti-inflammatory properties, but for immune function specifically, turmeric's active compound curcumin has been shown in research to directly modulate the immune response in ways that are particularly relevant to severe viral infections. Here is the specific mechanism that matters in the context of hantavirus. One of the most dangerous aspects of severe hantavirus infection and of many severe viral infections is not the virus itself. It is the immune system's overreaction to the virus, called a cytokine storm.
When the immune system detects a severe infection, it can sometimes release inflammatory cytokines in quantities so extreme that they damage the body's own tissues. The lung inflammation that kills hantavirus patients, the lungs filling with fluid, is driven in part by this excessive immune response. Curcumin has been shown in multiple studies to modulate this inflammatory response, reducing the production of the specific inflammatory cytokines most responsible for lung damage, TNF-alpha, interleukin-6, and interleukin-1 beta, the same cytokines involved in the deadly cytokine storm of severe viral respiratory infections. Curcumin is not an antiviral, but it may help prevent the immune overreaction that turns a serious viral infection into a fatal one. Half a teaspoon of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper in your morning drink, in your food, every single day. The black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Now, let me bring this all together because I want to leave you not with fear, but with a clear, practical action plan. What you should do starting today. Number 1, basic prevention for hantavirus, specifically. The CDC is clear. The primary risk for most Americans from hantavirus, including the strains already present in the American Southwest, is contact with rodents. Seal any gaps or holes in your home's foundation, walls, or roof where rodents could enter. Store food, including pet food, in sealed metal or thick plastic containers. If you are cleaning a space that may have had rodents, wear gloves, wear an N95 mask, and wet the area with a disinfectant solution before sweeping or wiping. Never dry sweep in a space that has had rodent droppings. If you spend time outdoors in areas with rodent populations, hiking, camping, working in barns or outbuildings, wear gloves, avoid contact with rodent droppings, and wash hands thoroughly afterward. Number 2, strengthen your immune system daily. Elderberry syrup or capsules daily. Echinacea extract daily, cycled every 8 weeks. Astragalus root extract daily, continuous. Crushed raw garlic, 1 to 2 cloves daily. Turmeric with black pepper, half a teaspoon daily in food or drinks. Total cost for all 5, approximately $30 to $50 per month. Number 3, general immune-supporting lifestyle. Sleep 7 to 9 hours every night. Sleep deprivation is one of the most significant suppressors of immune function ever documented. Reduce processed food and refined sugar. Sugar has been shown to impair white blood cell function for hours after consumption. Stay hydrated. Your mucous membranes, including those lining your respiratory tract, are a primary physical barrier against respiratory viruses. Get outside and move. Moderate exercise consistently improves immune function. Manage stress. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which directly suppresses immune function. I want to close with something important. The WHO director said something this week that I think deserves to be repeated clearly. Most people will never be exposed to this virus. The current outbreak remains small. It is contained on a ship in the Atlantic. American authorities are monitoring every potentially exposed person. The rodents that carry this specific Andes strain are not found in the United States. The risk to the American public at this moment is genuinely low. But here is what is always true. The time to build a strong immune system is not when you are already sick. It is right now, today, when you are healthy. The plants we talked about today are not emergency treatments. They are daily habits. Habits that build a biological defense over weeks and months, so that when your immune system is called upon, whether by hantavirus or flu or any other pathogen, it is ready. It is strong. It is prepared. Start with elderberry tomorrow morning. Add garlic to tonight's dinner. Take care of your immune system, because it is taking care of everything else.